Hello, Kingdom of Crystal Groves. My name is Cordelia Bramble-Smith, and welcome to my Prime Minister Report tutorial video. We will be going over the Corpora and what's stated in the Corpora and what you need in your reports, a brief section on the Treasury report, and a much longer section on the quarterly reports. Now please be advised, some of the information that I advise to be included in these reports is more than the Corpora says is necessary, but it oftentimes is pretty beneficial when going and passing information down to the next Prime Minister or being reviewed on the kingdom level. So, to get to it, we'll be going over to page 11 of the Corpora. So, along with page 11, on 4, you will notice that the provincial Prime Minister shall work with the Board of Directors Treasurer and serve in the capacity of the Treasurer for the province. This is really important. This means that you must keep your receipts of your purchases, your information, and everything like that, and keep a consistent record that can be audited if necessary, as we are a non-profit organization. All expenditures must be verified by you with receipts. Now, these receipts should be in some form that you can submit to the IRS, which means physical or PDF. This is very important. Now, we are going to skip on over to page 13 for the Prime Minister section. So, we are responsible with assisting the Board of Directors with collecting all fees and monies for our level of responsibility, so oftentimes that is just dues. This also means an accurate record of all income and expenses and banking activity. While you may not have direct access to your banks, you can always request information so that way you can keep your records accurate. This also means that you have to keep records from other sections just as accurate, as we are able to use the PayPal, and PayPal does not automatically deposit within a bank account, but it automatically pulls from a bank account unless said otherwise. So you have to be careful when spending funds to make sure you don't accidentally overdraft one or the other. Now, another section that's super important is section F, where the Prime Minister is responsible for reviewing written records of income and expenses with their monarch at the mid-reign and end-reign. So every mid-reign and coronation, you should be sitting down with the monarch and counting out the money, reviewing what you have, and making sure all the numbers add up properly. This is a token of responsibility and making sure that you are not overspending, and neither is anyone else. Now scrolling down to section B, we must maintain an accurate record of the dues paid status, award status, and attendance of all club members using the ORC. This is very important. Not only that, but we must update a quarterly report, and those quarterly reports are due at the end of March, the end of June, the end of September, and the end of December. And you must provide a list of voting members to your Kingdom Prime Minister monthly, or for the purpose of voting in the Kingdom level all thing in elections. You also must keep sign-in sheets for a minimum of 2 years or demonstrate an active use of the ORC. Most of the time we use the ORC, but in case you don't, make sure you have consistent record of your sign-ins. Now the next part is on page 28. We'll skip right down to that. So with our quarterly reports, at minimum, we must have the contact information for a current monarchy. This means if they're more easily accessible via email, Discord, or Facebook, you have to have a way to contact them. Your monthly unique sign-in totals for the province by month for the preceding 12 months. Currently, our quarterly reports just include the months within our quarter, so my current quarter is January, February, and March. The unique sign-ins you can find through a specific link that will be provided through the Excel that is attached to this video, and it brings you to the JS-ORC. This should be able to calculate your unique sign-ins within a time period for you. Along with this, you must have the number of adult players who are members of your park with 2 or more sign-ins within the past 12 months. The Board of Directors has decided that it is easier to include just the 2 or more sign-ins for that quarter, as that is still valid for insurance reasons. The number of minors who are members of the park for 2 or more sign-ins in the past 12 months also is within the past quarter instead. Now make sure you understand that even though the age is 14 and up to fight, there can be children who are members who are not on the fighting field but should be included in this count for insurance reasons. Now, it's also important to indicate that these are people who are members of your park and not guests, in case you have people who are frequent guests who are residents of other parks. I will be telling you a quick trick, as there's no system in place to quickly calculate this out on your behalf. But if you take a little extra time filling out an Excel spreadsheet that I'll have provided, it makes your life a lot easier when it comes to quarterly reports or when you're passing on to the next Prime Minister. A list of all dues paid members, you can easily access that through the ORC itself, but it's better to have it available on hand. A treasury report consisting of level of funds, incomes, expenses since the previous quarterly update. This is also extremely important. A copy of any park level all-thing minutes since the previous quarterly update. So if your park has had an all-thing to spend money to repair weapons, to host a party, or anything like that, that needs to be included, and the results of the all-thing. A copy of the rain calendar is also extremely important, so this way it can be shared throughout other parks, and you can have members visiting and understanding when you're holding tournaments and competitions. And that's going over what's currently in the Corpora, and now we'll be going on to the treasury report. Okay, now that we've gone over the Corpora that outlines the treasury and the quarterly reports, we will get into the treasury report section, or your ledger. Now, it's important that you have this in a function that can be shared easily with your monarch and other members so it can be updated live. You should be the only one who's updating it, but in case you have to step away, it needs to be accessed and be able to be audited. So I prefer the Google spreadsheet because it's easy to share, it automatically saves, you can save it to your park's Gmail account and work off of it from there. You can also do it on a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, but it's a little harder to keep it continuously shared. Some key components are, you should have a sequence number that starts with the last 2 digits of the year, so 2025, and then the number it is in the accounting ledger. This means that you can always reference it in, say, 2026, or in another sequence going reimbursement due to sequence number 25005 because something happens. You want to include the date, and then I have a drop-down list that allows me to indicate what type of transaction it is. So I can do report, I can do bank, cash, PayPal, I can even do a multiple one, where as you can see it's PayPal to bank. This allows you to quickly scan through and be like, okay, these are our cash, and it makes auditing and reviewing things much more easy. Now you have your description. You want to make sure your description is clear on exactly what is happening. If there's a donation, you want to make sure that your donation is, if it's because of one person, if they want to be anonymous, or how it's supposed to go, or if this donation is supposed to go towards a specific item, such as a feast, loaner gear, things like that. You want a section that says cash in, cash out, an amount that says petty cash, so any cash on hand, quarters, dollars, $50 bills, anything like that should be kept in here. A PayPal, if you have Cash App, Venmo, or any other third party, you should also have one of those, because money can pool in these accounts without being automatically transferred to your bank. And when there's an audit, you need to be able to quickly reference where that money is rather than trying to hunt it down. So then we have our bank account numbers, which you sometimes will get bank statements at the end of every month. You may have to request those from your treasurer, and it's good to occasionally double check to make sure that number has stayed consistent. So you could even put in bank statement, say April 1st, no cash in, no cash out. Petty cash is the same, there's no change. PayPal is the same, there's no change. And it should report 968.02. Our total is summed up everything from petty cash, PayPal, and bank, so that way it should be able to stay consistent. It should be a sum function like this, so that way small errors shouldn't be an issue. It's a little harder to automate cash in, cash out to petty cash, and to specify those, as I'm not a computer coder, I'm just someone who likes to fiddle with spreadsheets. It's really important that you have quarterly summaries. You also include any time that there's a turnover. So if the money is turned over from PM to PM, or every time that there is a mid-reign or coronation when you and your monarch are supposed to sit down and count the petty cash, you should include that as a report or a turnover, so that way it is shown in your park's history that you are following the proper procedures. Now, if you don't want to stick around and do this, where you can easily do drop downs, you can always do it in Google Excel, which I have right there. This will be deleted out from your guys' version, but another little drop down thing. It isn't color coordinated and doesn't allow multiple transactions, but it can still be consistent and useful. Now for the little drop down transactions, in case you want to edit them, you'll select your column, you'll go to data, you go to data validation, and then over here you'll add a rule, remove a rule, or things like that. This rule says that this entire column has a drop down ability. Each drop down has a different color, and I can allow multiple selections, and done. Haven't quite figured out how to do that on Microsoft Excel, but this is kind of a much better way to do it, so it's easily accessed for your monarch or even your kingdom prime minister to quickly audit you in the middle of a quarter. And that is it for the treasury section, and we will go on over to the quarterly portion. So this is the quarterly report on a Google Excel that your kingdom prime minister should release to you. As you can see at the bottom, every park has their own tab that they can submit their individual information. It should include your monarchy, who they are, how to access them, things like that, links to your ledger, links to your awards, your unique sign-ins per month, which is required by Corpora. This portion, the average and the total, is just a little extra data that I like to include. Your unique sign-in players, 34, I will show you how to do that later, and 2 for the number of minors are very important. Your all thing notes should be included. Your reign calendar, links to your Discord, award recommendations, more details about that reign calendar. Our player names, how their dues are paid up until, if they're a park resident, a kingdom resident, or using Corpora, it is possible for them to be a kingdom resident and not be a park resident. That is an ability to happen. It means that they're traveling around the kingdom and they haven't been able to come back home in a little bit. Now I also have been starting to include unique sign-in history over the past year, as it allows you, if your park is trying to strive for the next step in your status, such as Port Union is trying to strive for duchy, it allows you to show your proof to your kingdom prime minister, your data, and your increasing numbers until you are where you need to be. Real quickly, these numbers right here, my park has a link immediately attached to it that brings us over to the JS org. This will calculate your unique sign-ins per month and can even do them for the entire past year, not in this format, but in total unique sign-ins in the entire year. This is very important to continue having. I will have this link in with the Google Excel or the Microsoft Excel that I will be sharing along with this video. Now, on to my personal Excel. So this is a copy that you guys will get a slightly blanker version of. That includes a multitude of resources that you can use and make your prime minister life just a tad easier. So vote tracker, you can have your players, when their dues have been paid up till, and then different votes. So if there's a kingdom monarchy vote and you have 3 candidates for monarch and an abstain column, your regent, your champion, maybe even an all thing is happening, you can keep those all separated, but have a total column so things get added up quite quickly. It also tells you who has voted and who hasn't. This is really important if you have a whole lot of players who've paid their dues, keeping track. I will even select a player and turn their section orange if their dues are coming up on expired within a month, so that way I can give them a little reminder. Or I'll even turn it red if their dues have expired, but they're a member who I know is going to end up paying their dues rather soon. I like to have a schedule. This schedule allows me to have notes over here, so I can put quarterly report. Okay, what if we haven't picked a theme for the ANS night? Will we be hosting park, or is there something happening? Is this quest day a special day that equipment needs to be brought up for? And then this section is a section that I can quickly just take a screenshot of and post a picture of it, and voila. 3 months of rain calendar posted for easy access. Over here, I like to put past mid-rains and coronations, so as we continue planning throughout the year, we can keep a very consistent schedule. So if we're supposed to have KSC around here, and the 24th is actually supposed to be our coronation day, that means that declarations should be open, and the weekend of the KFC, so our Kingdom Spring coronation, should open declarations for our park coronation, and then on the 10th is when voting should start. Those little notes can be added in here, or even if one of your members of Monarchy is going to be out of town and you have to make sure you're prepared for that. A little treasury report so you can keep consistent track of things. So this is basically a copy and paste of what the Kingdom Monarchy has given me, so I can put all my information in here, a JS org that you can touch up on, and this allows you to just copy and paste the moment that your monarch gives you the Google quarterly reports. It means you're not scrambling around. So now the 2+ portion, the portion that confuses many people. Here we go. Your player names, the dates that you have events, their attendance. Over here is their total attendance. This is total attendance by day, by individual, and then over here is a very special formula. It is equals if what is in the total column is greater than 1, then it equals 1. If not, it equals 0. And then this sum up here will tell you exactly how many players have attended the park more than 2 times. What I like to do is I will actually indicate if there's a child by selecting this, giving him like a little light purple, so that way I can scroll down and be like, okay, 3 children. So if I have 16 in total, 3 of those are children, 13 adults, 3 children. Now, I do something separate for the guests entirely, because guests, players, are not included in your 2+ count, but it's kind of nice to see, okay, these players are the ones who consistently keep coming out. These are just one-time visitors. Who are we getting a lot of visitors from? Should we maybe do a joint event with another park? So I then also label these Q1, so Q1 of 2025, Q2 2025. And then that way, as it goes along, I can drag it, and Q1's already done. Okay, and I can scroll back over here and have all the important stuff on to one side and all the retired stuff on the other. And then I can save this entire Microsoft Excel and label it 2025 Port Union Reports, and make a complete another blank one for 2026. So award recommendations is a little tab that I like to personally do. It's not required, but because I'm the Prime Minister, I hear a lot of people say, oh, I want to recommend this person for this award or this for this. Or I'll be paying attention, I'll have notes throughout the entire quarter between reigns and mid-reigns of who I want to put in orders for. So I'll be like, okay, maybe Gryon or Monarch has done something really cool and I want to put him in for an order of the Lion. I'm not sure what the rank is, put his name in, put the reason. I'm the one who's recommending it, and then later on I can double check and submit it right before mid-reign or coronation. Or if, say, Gryon recommends someone else to be done, well, I can make a quick note of it here, and then that way when the time comes, I can ensure Gryon remembers that he was thinking about that. Because, hey, Amtgarders are forgetful. Now I've got the unique sign-in history, so everything that goes back over a year, the number that I got from the JS org, and then over here is the average from June to July, because it's the total of 12 months, not 13 months. So if I was to do July, it'd be July to August, and so on and so forth. This way you can see your continuous growth, if you're stagnant, if you're dropping in numbers, and you can adjust from there if needed. That is most everything that I have available. I will be publishing a blank copy of this in as a Google Excel and as a Microsoft Excel, so that way anyone can have free reign at playing around with this, having fun with this, using it for their own park. If you have any questions, please call me up or give me a contact. Thank you.